My trumpet quartet, Days of Bells and Flying Creatures, was commissioned in 2017 by the London-based ensemble Bella Tromba. Like many of my works, it was composed here in Tuscany as part of a residency in the countryside of Chianti. During the residency, I spent much of my time making recordings of the sounds which surrounded me on a daily basis, the songs of birds and insects, and the ringing of church bells from nearby towns. I then transcribed these recordings, and my transcriptions form the basis of a 7-movement work which charts the course of an imagined day in the Tuscan countryside. The first movement, entitled Bird Cicadas Fly, is a form of musical soundscape in which a drone-like accompaniment inspired by the chattering of cicadas underpins the shrieking of a bird and a melody inspired by the restless meandering of a fly. Following this, the second movement, Morning Bells and Sunday Mass, begins with a blaze of bell-like activity before the music imagines, as suggested by the title, a religious mass in which the homily of a priest is answered by the amens of his congregation. The third and fifth movements, which are entitled Dove Aria and Waltzing Dove, respectively, then take the sounds of doves, of course, but also wood pigeons as the basis of textures such as this from the beginning of the third movement. And also this here from the beginning of the fifth movement. And in both movements, these textures ultimately form the backdrop for a more melodic musical language, which allows different instruments from within the quartet their chance to shine. Separating these two movements is Midday Bells, the work's central movement, which seeks to capture something of the intense heat and light of Chianti at noon through a more dissonant, bell-inspired soundscape. Moving forward through the piece, the sixth and penultimate movement, which is called Bird Cicadas Rooster, revisits the chattering of cicadas which underpin the opening movement. Here, however, this sound accompanies the song of a new type of bird, and also the crowing of a rooster. finally, we come to the epilogue, Evening Bells, which begins in a manner not dissimilar to that of the early movement, Midday Bells. This short introduction is followed by a peaceful chorale before fragments from earlier in the work are revisited as part of a kaleidoscope of memories. This closing episode is intended to echo the way in which one might look back upon the events of a day shortly before falling asleep. Days of Bells and Flying Creatures is scored for 3 B-flat trumpets and bass trumpet, with the first player doubling on piccolo trumpet. However, the edition of the piece published by Warwick Music contains an alternate part for B-flat trumpet, which can be used for the first 6 movements of the work if no bass trumpet is available. This allows for a slightly shorter version of the piece to be performed by a more standard lineup of trumpet quartet. I hope you will enjoy playing the piece as much as I enjoyed writing it.